Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be going over Invest 98L. It is near the southern Florida coast, so this is very concerning. It is here. We have a very good chance of it forming. There is this area that's shaded in orange over the Atlantic over the next 5 days that has a 50% chance of forming. I will be posting a video on that tomorrow, so I will be having a double upload tomorrow. I'll be uploading on Invest 98L and Invest 99L. But you will see more about that in tomorrow's upload, so stick around for tomorrow. Or if you're watching this after, it'll be the upload after this one. Okay, so before we get into this video, consider subscribing and leaving a like down below. And let's go ahead and get into it. So you can see in this area of the red that we have in the next 2 days, we have a 70% chance of development. Really what we're saying is into a tropical depression. So we have a 70% chance of at least a tropical depression over the next 2 days, and over the next 5 days we have a 90% chance over, of course, as I said, over the next 5 days, for it to turn into a tropical depression. So we do have 2 high chances. It's very, very likely it will happen. It probably will happen, and regardless of development, we are expecting a lot of flooding, especially across parts of Florida. Along the southeast coast, we're going to have to see. It's looking like it's going to be limited in the rain just because yesterday we were seeing a lot of rain for North Carolina. It was looking pretty bad for North Carolina and Florida. But today, it has moved a little bit differently. It's looking like it'll do something like that. So you can see how it's going to miss out on North Carolina almost completely. So we might still have a little bit of rough surf off the southeast coast, but really we shouldn't see any impacts except for maybe Florida and some parts of maybe coastal Georgia. We will still have to see what happens there. But right now, it's looking like once it hits Florida, it'll follow a cold front that is in Florida, and it'll take it out into the ocean very, very quickly. Now, there has a lot of people have been saying, not everyone, but if we go to these spaghetti models over here, you can see how this one model, only 1 or 2 models, takes it this way. I'm going to go ahead and tell everyone, cleared up right here, this is not right. We will not be seeing it move that way. We are going to definitely be seeing it moving out into the Atlantic Ocean. That is definitely what it's looking like right now. It'll most likely not change, but we know it won't really move anywhere around here. But the question is, how far will it be out into the ocean before it gets really strong? That's the question we'll have to see right now. But if we were to look at the satellite imagery, you can see how it's got way more organized since yesterday. The low pressure's around here, and you can see how all the moisture, or just all the clouds, if you want to say that, around it, are pretty intense. Now, if we were to look over here, you can see we do have some of these areas where these thunderstorms are really starting to get intense. So if you look at the clouds, they look a little bubbly, some of them. Those are where we're seeing the heaviest of our thunderstorms. So most of them are off the Florida coast, but a lot of them are starting to move on into Florida as it does move northwest throughout today. So your Saturday is our biggest threat day. Today, especially tonight and tomorrow, we are going to be seeing quite a bit happening across Florida. But most likely, hopefully by your Sunday, it should start to move out, and then hopefully, pretty much by your Tuesday, we won't even have to be worrying about it at all for Florida. So that's what it's looking like right now, looking way more organized. The Bahamas is what I'm really concerned about right now. Florida I am concerned about definitely too, but the Bahamas are in it right now, which is not good for them. Okay, if we were to go back to the spaghetti models, this is the most recent. This has changed, but you can see how right now we're just expecting a tropical depression for the next probably about day when it does form. And so over the next day we are expecting a tropical depression to form. And then this is saying over the next 2 days we might hit a tropical storm. And then the question is, will we just get to a very strong tropical storm, or could we get all the way up to hurricane status? Now, a lot of the models are getting closer and closer to that Category 1 hurricane status. So I'm not going to say that this is going to make it to a hurricane, but it is looking like it definitely could make it to a hurricane. Now, if we were to look at this, it's looking like it'll be out to sea by the time that it is a hurricane. Now, the question is, how far will it be? Right now, it's looking like it'll be somewhere out here. If we were to look when it'd be a tropical depression, it'd be around here. So, or tropical storm. So you can see how we're expecting this low that's right here to move across a lot of Florida And a lot of Florida, you're going to be in this today and tomorrow. Tomorrow's our biggest start day, of course, as I did say. So you can see how this does move out sometime into your Saturday night or Sunday. And you can see how a lot of these models are together. So if we were to look at the majority of the models together, you can see how a lot of the models are bringing it to central eastern Florida and then taking it out this way. You can see how that's not that close to any of the southeast coast. The closest it probably gets would be to the Florida, of course, Florida and the Georgia coast. It's going to get inland in Florida most likely. Now, some models are leaving it right on the coast right here, you can see, but it's most likely going to go inland and then quickly go out north through the northeast as the cold front does bring it out. But you can see many of the models just take it out to sea, and it doesn't really do much after that. But right now, it's not looking too concerning for any of the southeast except for maybe Florida, but that could definitely change. But impacts have been lowered for the Carolinas and Georgia throughout today. But Florida, you're going to be affected, especially tonight and tomorrow, as I did say. Okay, if we were to go ahead and move on to windy.com, you can see right now we do have Invest 98L right here. Looks pretty intense for a lot of the people, especially in the Bahamas. If we were to go ahead and move a little bit forward, you can see how by tomorrow morning around your 4 a.m. time frame, you can see it is already moving north. So the area of low pressure, at least the area of low pressure, is most likely going to be over Florida. So even though the area of low pressure is going to be over Florida, does not mean the impacts are going to be straight over Florida, the worst of them. Some of the impacts could definitely be off the coast. Now, that could change as we get as the models could definitely change. Right now, that is what it is looking like. So the abundance, the huge amount of moisture could be off the coast just a little bit, but you can see by Saturday at 12 p.m., we do have a lot of this rain, and the center of that storm is around here. So this is that time when we had it over here, and then it moved throughout here, and it starts to move out that way. So as we go, and sorry about my dog barking, someone just got home. If we were to go to Saturday at 10 p.m., you can see it starts to make that track. Now, you can see how there's a lot of moisture across a lot of the southeast. That is that cold front we were talking about, as I was just talking about. So here is our cold front along this area. If we were to go forward into your Sunday at 8 a.m., you can see that cold front does start to move out, and it's going to take this tropical system with it. So the question is, how long is this storm going to hang out around Georgia and South Carolina, and how close will it be? Because if we go north a little too much, and if we do something like this, and then it does that, it'll be way closer to the Georgia coast, maybe even the South Carolina coast. So that's very concerning of how long will it take for it to get pushed out of here, and how long will it be going that northern turn. But we're expecting it to get to central eastern Florida and move out and be a little close to the Georgia coast, but just far away enough to where we don't see a lot of impacts. If we were to go ahead and move on to your Sunday at 8 p.m., you can see it's starting to move out. It's still over here in the Atlantic, close to the southeast coast. This has been closer than the last model run a little bit around Georgia. So this is it's already starting to make that shift a little bit west just when it comes to Georgia. Now, you can see how this cold front really does start to move this out by your Monday. It moves it out pretty far east. Now, the thing is, as I was talking about yesterday, the North Carolina coast does stick out a little bit. So if we were to move out to your 2 p.m. time frame on your Monday, here's the North Carolina coast, and here is the center of your storm. So you can see they're still not that far away. It is a little farther than yesterday, but you can see it's still not that far away. So there is a time on your Monday when we will see some moisture, possibly, from that, whatever this will be on Monday, maybe a tropical storm or maybe even getting close to a hurricane. And there is the possibility that it could wrap around some moisture onto the coast, or there's the possibility that it might get a little closer and be like that if it doesn't make that northeastern turn as quick as we are thinking right now. But right now, it's looking like significant impacts will be offshore, and North Carolina shouldn't worry too much. And by your Tuesday, once again, it is starting to move out especially by your Tuesday night, it does look very intense. Has a lot of those heavy thunderstorms. If we were to look at your wind, or let's go to wind gusts, you can see some of the wind gusts are around your 60 mile per hour range, and some of your just regular winds are around the 40 range. So sometimes this can downgrade it just a little bit. It doesn't show it as much as it will be. But if we were to look at your wind field on your Monday, you can see how across a lot of the North Carolina coast, and maybe even parts of these areas near Virginia Beach and stuff like that, we do have some of these really strong wind gusts. Now, of course, at the beach, the winds are always pretty strong because you have that sea breeze coming in. But 33 mile per hour wind gusts and some of that rain that could be coming in, just a little bit of it, could be causing some problems. Now, not huge problems, but minor problems. That is always something that we'd have to watch, maybe for just minor problems. Because minor problems can always do something to like 1 or 2 people, but those 1 or 2 people do matter. So we will have to keep watching this. If this does make that western turn, I'm very concerned. But right now, I'm not way concerned of what will happen along a lot of the southeast coast. But right now, it's not looking that intense across a lot of the southeast coast. Maybe Florida and maybe we'll definitely have to be watching. But if it does take that western tick that it could make throughout the models, I'll have way more concerns. And we will be really talking about the storm. But you can see by your Thursday, this is a little bit more west than yesterday. Once it gets up in the northern Atlantic, you can see by your Thursday, it does hit Nova Scotia. So you can see yesterday it was taking something like this, something like that. But this today, it's way up here. So Nova Scotia, you could be in this and getting quite a bit of rain. Now, if we were to move into your Friday, it moves through parts of, I don't know exactly where this is, but you know where you are if you are seeing this. I don't think anybody really watches me from there. But it does go through this area. Excuse me. And then on your Friday night, or maybe even your Saturday, it's out of here. And may even get close to Greenland, which I find very interesting. You can see. But it's not going to be that intense once it makes it there. It's not going to be that bad. But if we were to go to your rain accumulation really quick, over the next 10 days, there is a tropical system we're watching down across the Gulf that I will be talking about tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it's that one in the orange shade. It could be a different one. I will have to check later. But you can see for the rainfall across parts of North Carolina, we do have some pretty intense totals, but a lot of those are from thunderstorms that are going to be coming through today. But some of those rains are still going to make it across the North Carolina coast, as we can see. So some of this will be from that system. You can see how the big bulk of the rains are not far. So little Ocracoke, you need to watch out around there because some of these areas definitely will be affected by rain. I'm not saying you won't, but not as significantly as we were saying yesterday. But it still does look a little weird for a lot of areas there. Now, if we were to go ahead and look across Florida, we are expecting anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rain. Miami is where it is around now, and you can see around 2 inches of rain. Now, if we were to move into the Bahamas, we have about 3 to 5 inches of rain left. And you can see, even though we have that center of that system over this area, that'll be over this area, all that moisture will most likely, if this does move a little bit more west, it will be different. But you can see how much of that moisture is going to be over these regions. Most of it will be in the ocean and parts of the northern Bahamas. So even though we have that center over Florida, as I was saying earlier, a lot of the impacts could be way far east. That's just how tropical systems are. Usually the eastern side is the worst spot. So if you're not on that eastern side, you usually don't see it as bad. But that is what we're seeing there. Still some bad rains across Florida and the Bahamas could cause flooding. As we move into the rest of the southeast, it's still up in the air. By tomorrow, we should know a lot more stuff about this. But yeah, guys, I hope y'all did enjoy this video. If you did, consider subscribing and leaving a like down below. And I will see you guys in the next